100 miles southwest of Plymouth, USA, is Mystic Seaport, the largest maritime museum in the United States. It's home to a very special part of the Mayflower legacy. Yachtsman and adventurer Conrad Humphreys has been finding out more back in England.
Brixham on South Devon's coast is widely known for its fishing fleet. But it used to be home to some of England's most talented shipwrights. And it was here in the 1950s that an audacious project got underway. To build a full-scale replica of the Pilgrim's ship, the Mayflower. It was the idea of this man, Warwick Charlton, a journalist who worked closely with our American allies in World War II and wanted to give them a thank you gift. In the 50s, a famous shipyard stood on the site of these flats, and the owner, Stuart Upham, answered Warwick's call to help recreate the Mayflower. Construction began in 1955.
I remember it very clearly. It was after the war, and not much was going on in the building, so the Mayflower came as a, added bonus, as it were.
Wendy Piper is Stuart Upham's daughter. When the Mayflower was being built here, you were just 15. What did it feel like?
It was fascinating. When I came home from school, the first place I came to was the yard to see how things were getting on, watching everything, taking it all in. They had visitors and all that sort of thing, which helped to pay for it.
Let's describe what was here. So,
This was the dry dock. In fact, if you go over there and look over the wall, you will see the outlet for the dry dock.
And was your father very proud of this boat?
He was intensely proud, but not from a personal point of view. He only wanted it to be a tribute to West Country shipbuilding. That was all he ever wanted, because ships had been built here since God knows how long ago. So yes, he was very, very proud.
Mayflower II had a big impact on Brixham, showcasing the port's shipbuilding talent to the world. And at the town's museum, there's an exhibit dedicated to this vessel. The centrepiece is this 2-metre-long replica of the boat. Incredible, you see the sort of square rig sails, the bowsprit, even Felix the cat. And here we've got the captain, Alan Villiers, and his route that he took, the southern route as opposed to this northern cold crossing. And then up here we've got this lovely ship's bell that they would have timed the watches with. These are the plans for Mayflower II. The design was done by William A. Baker, an American maritime historian. This is just incredible to see these original blueprints. They would have been given to the boat builders, and they would have probably chalked them out on the floor as they were doing the design. There's a few little features that I love here. One in particular, we've got the bowsprit here, and there would have been an enormous great forward sail that the sailors would have struggled to have brought back in some of the bad conditions. And then one other feature that I noticed when I was looking on this one. So here we've got a cross-section of the hull, and you sort of get a real sense of just how high this boat was. Not really much in the way of keel structure. Not really the sort of boat that you'd want to go and spend any time at the Atlantic in. By April 1957, Stuart Upham and his team had completed their work. Mayflower II was ready to sail.
The front of Plymouth is packed with crowds, for Mayflower's big moment has come. The 180-ton replica of the Pilgrim Fathers ship is ready to sail.
Amid great fanfare, Mayflower II set sail from Plymouth, her destination, America. Crossing the Atlantic is no mean feat. It's a journey I've made 7 times. The North Atlantic is a cruel ocean. Huge waves can batter the UK coast. We know very little about the passage of the original Mayflower in 1620, but having set off in the autumn, it's likely that they faced some challenging conditions. Take a nice wave. The weather systems would have been piling in one after the other. It's a very difficult and dangerous time to leave. And even though Mayflower II set off in the spring, the journey was a daunting prospect for her crew too. Square riggers like the Mayflower and Bounty's End here are notoriously difficult at sailing upwind as they try and crisscross into the prevailing conditions. It makes it very, very difficult to sail across the Atlantic. Mayflower II proved up to the challenge, making the crossing in just 54 days. She arrived in Plymouth, Massachusetts on the 13th of June, 1957.
The Mayflower drops anchor hard by Plymouth Rock, where some 25,000 people have gathered to watch the welcoming ceremony.
The ship became a popular tourist attraction on the Plymouth shoreline, but over the years her wooden structure deteriorated. In 2016, she came here to Mystic Seaport in Connecticut, where an ambitious restoration project was started.
The first boat I ever restored was a canoe, and now, as part of my career, to be part of the team that's restoring the Mayflower is just incredible.
Whip Perry has been overseeing the build.
About 70% of the ship will be brand new. We have been able to retain about 30% of different parts of the frames, bulkheads, doors. I do often think about the passengers back in 1620, as well as when they sailed across in 1957 with no motor. Always consider that, and this is, for me as a preservationist and been into history for a long part of my career, that's when I can really touch, feel, and smell the real history.
Today is a momentous one. After 3 years in refit, the ship is going back in the water.
Look at this ship. She is beautiful.
To see the launch is absolutely amazing.
She's beautiful. They did a great job with her. We've been here several times during the process, and it's been fun to watch.
Very proud. Proud to be a descendant.
I think, like my father, that Anglo-American friendship is critical to the future of democracy in the world.
Randall Charlton's father, Warwick, was the man who came up with the original vision for the Mayflower II.
Oh, he would have been so proud. I mean, you know, after the war, there was a need for food for the spirit, and this is what I think this ship will provide. Last night, I had a nightmare, because when the ship was first launched in Brixham Harbour, she sped out over the water and nearly tipped over. So I'll feel a little bit nervous, but there's 80 tons of ballast, I'm assured, in this ship today, and so she's going to be fine in the water.
I christen thee Mayflower. Yeah. God bless the ship while you sail in her.
There's still a bit of work to do before Mayflower II can sail again, but the plan is to take her back to Plymouth, Massachusetts next summer in time for the 400th commemorations.